Okay, Emily, does that look good? Okay, we are ready for you, Joy.
All right, thank you. Well, thank you all for having me here today. I'm enjoying the nice warm weather in Florida. Sorry it's a little rainy up there for you guys, but I would like to give you a little quick update about the FACTS network. So very ambitious. I'm going to be kind of glossing over quite a few slides. A lot of this just came out of our last meeting that we had, but I'm going to try and cover these points and let you know what we're up to. So the first thing was about our meeting. So our last meeting we had in Jensen Beach in December 2022. Here's all of our smiling faces. We have an upcoming summer virtual meeting in 2023 and then a winter in-person meeting. And we're started the conversation with Kim and Matt about potentially in the future doing a joint ACT-FACT meeting. I think that would be really awesome to do. At this past meeting, we had a range testing workshop and also a scientific communication workshop, both with the help of the OTN, and they went over amazingly well. I learned a lot. I learned how to tweet, didn't know how to do that before. So it was a very successful meeting. FACT has been working on updating our website. So we have some new drop downs that you can follow along, including you can become a member online or become a partner online, and there's a Google form that gets translated over to it. So that way, when people are interested in FACT, they can go to the website, learn a bit more, and then actually register that way. We also have a meetings page so people can read about past meetings and future meetings. We can post agendas up here. And so again, just trying to increase awareness of the meetings, and so people can go back and look at what has happened and what is upcoming. One of the questions we get a lot asked about is about data processing, how to load data, and essentially we were writing the same emails a billion times over. So we wanted to put this information on the website so that anybody could access it. So this is a page you go to, those little pluses are drop downs. So it actually gives you a step-by-step how to upload your data or how to provide your data to the FACTS node. We also have a page that has the templates. So you can go directly to these templates and then download them, and we can keep updating them at this site so that you're using the most up-to-date templates with your data. So I always like to talk about our database. So the FACTS node, right now, this is before this latest push. I believe we're up to a little over 240 million detections. 103 of them are animal detections. We have about 88% matching, which I think is pretty good. There's some matching that we imagine just aren't going to happen because there could be false detections. There could be old data that aren't loaded yet, things like that. We have about 9,500 tags on 100 and almost 20 different species, nearly 15,000 deployments from a lot of stations. But I think it's most interesting to look at active stations. So if we looked at stations that have been downloaded since 2021, we're looking at about a little over 1,100. And the back map that's kind of faded, actually those circles are of what we would call active stations, or stations we believe are still in the water that have been downloaded the last 2 years. And active tags, we have over 2,800 that have been deployed or that are registered in the FACTS network. So as I'm sure all of you know now, all of the pushes, the OTN structured node pushes, so ACT and FACT, are aligned together. So you had a push in October 22, so did we. It was actually our biggest push for FACT. I'm not going to read all of this, other than it was pretty large. When we process information during pushes, any piece of information that comes in that needs to be processed is called an issue. It's like just a way of keeping track of how things are processed. So we call them issues. So this was actually produced by the OTN, looking at the number of issues in this last push by node. So we can see FACT has, FACT has a lot of issues, apparently. We're right on up there. So we're bringing in a lot of data. This graph is showing just for FACT what we're doing with these issues, what type of issues we're doing. And not surprisingly, almost 58% of these are loading data, so bringing in new data. But what I really like about this graph is actually the data fixes, which is about 25%. And this, I think, is a big plug for nodes. because it is often, when people contribute data, they might find out later that something is different. A deployment time was different, the location was accidentally messed up on the field sheet, things like that. And by using the nodes, we can actually go back and fix it. And then the next push, it's updated for everyone. And so I just harken back to the days of when we just used to pass information to each other, but there was no way to be able to actually go back and fix something like that systematically. So what does all that mean? Why did I go into it? So FACT's growing. This is Active growing. We're asking PIs to not wait for the deadline to submit data. So we're trying to get them to kind of be like, as soon as you download or as soon as you place tags, go ahead and place them up in order to not have so much information right at the edge of the pushes. Because we're all aligned together, that means all of our extracts are basically ready together. So if we can kind of spread out that effort, hopefully we can shorten that time between our deadlines and when those extracts can come out. We have a FACT student and early career research group. Part of that group, they do student travel. So we have, or in order to raise money for student travel to the FACT meetings, we have a Bonfire website. You can pick up some FACT swag over here. We also at the last meeting did an in-person raffle and raised over, I think, $500 in person for student travel. So that was a pretty big success. We're seeing more student-led webinars and workshops. This was one of the first webinars that was student-led. We also had the range testing workshop at the last meeting was also student-led. So we're really excited to see our students become more involved and grow and be able to help them in their early careers. We have a program very similar to something the OTN does called Moorings of Opportunity, and this is based on a loaner program in collaboration with the OTN. So the map on the left are all receiver sites, those active receiver sites. The yellow stars are receivers that have been put in conjunction with oceanographers or that are monitoring buoys, anything else in the water that's more oceanography, not necessarily like a receiver site. However, we partner with them, we provide them a receiver, and when they go out and service that buoy, then the receiver gets downloaded. We partner them with someone local in the area that can download, reinitialize, and do all that. The cool part about this program is that often we have receivers that can go out in places that would be unfeasible for regular receiver placement. And while this doesn't produce a ton of detections, it does produce unique information that can be very insightful for projects. Just recently, Socorro, so that is our regional ICE down here, they put out an RFP to fill gaps on the east coast of Florida, which included putting out one new ocean buoy that has been awarded. And as part of that, we will be putting a receiver on that new buoy, which is going outside of the Ponce Inlet. So the red star is kind of the area where we expect it to go, which is exciting. This is in conjunction with the OTN, but FACT has its own loaner pool. So this is something beneficial that we offer to our members, is that they can apply directly to FACT and in the same criteria that are judged with the OTN, but the FACT network members decide, and those receivers are loaned out. The first round we did was focused on students and early careers, but now we've opened it to everyone, and it's a rolling application that can come on in. Okay, I was rushing through a lot of that because I wanted to actually get to the DAVIT. And Caitlin mentioned this a little bit. So this is a grant we received and a tool we developed that I'm going to talk a little bit about. And first, let's talk about why. So we know the NOAA data sharing directive, and there's been a new memo that has come out that is probably going to add more teeth to this. But basically it says that the information has to come out in a timely fashion. We are highly supported, FACT is highly supported by Socorro. Socorro follows IUCE, which follows NOAA. Thus, to honor our relationship with Socorro, we needed to find a way in order to provide this information to the public. Socorro has been very understanding in that it's not necessarily the raw data is what the public are interested in. So how do we get the information to it? So we came up with this idea, the data visualization tool, very creative with our name, the DAVIT. So it takes data which are considered, generally highly sensitive. It summarizes it with different metrics and by species, and then it projects them onto a visualization web map. And this is generally not sensitive. So you cannot find a receiver. You cannot find any individual animal. Couple other things I want to point out here is that the data are actually ingested directly from the node, which means that the PIs give approval, but then there is no extra effort required on their behalf. Okay, so I'm doing something a little different. I've actually embedded a website into this presentation. So this currently is the actual website for the fact. It might look a little weird because it is, like I said, projected. So if we go under Discover, you'll get to the data visualization tool. And I'm going to scroll down a little bit and kind of orient you to the page. Like I said, it's going to look a little weird because it's projected, but it opens to a map. But at the very bottom, it starts with questions. So each of these are drop down. You can answer, the basic questions, or even we talk about what are the limitations of the DAVIT. And of course, we give credit to people that have, or the organizations that have sponsored this creation. Let me go back on it. So the DAVIT is made for the public. This is not made for scientists. This is made for teachers. This is made for grandma. This is made that could be informative for fisheries managers to understand what information is available out there. So you have a series of, there you go, series of drop downs. So essentially you can pick your species. These are all the species that are currently listed in here. We've been had really good participation in it. Again, it's an opt-in, opt-out. You don't have to do this, so we'll keep it at a fine-tooth shark. I can pick a specific project if I know. I can pick a specific year that I want to look at, a month, and then we have two different metrics that we show, distribution and range here. I can layer that with other layers here. So I can look at different animals during different times. I could take the fine-tooth shark and decide that I want to do that one in 22. And now I want to look at fine-tooth shark, but I want to look at it in 2020. So I could, I could overlay those together and I can change the colors. As you scroll over it, it'll tell you a little bit more information about what's involved in those layers. Again, because it's for the public, I can come down here and I can decide to change my map. Say, I like it. That one looks a little cooler to me. And another big part of this is here is whatever data are shown, the citations are provided. So because we're just looking at fine-tooth sharks, it's from one project. If I click this button, I get the contact information for that project. So if I did want some more information, I know exactly who to go to. Okay, and we do have a disclaimer at the bottom here that I'll point out also that this is not to be used in scientific publications, but this is for general information purposes only. Okay, so that's a very quick tour. And if I'm running close to time, please, I can't really see anything, so please just interject and let me know. The great thing about all of us working together is we're automatically matching detection. We've had a lot of crossover between different projects. However, that means that there's also a lot of false detections that get matched. And the more nodes we have, the more possible that we have those false detections. Not only that, the researcher has to deal with it, but again, as far as the DAVIT goes, we are ingesting information directly from the node. So it does ingest these false detections. So this is a screenshot. I didn't show this one, because we always show our best foot forward, right? But this is a sturgeon that had some detections in Puerto Rico and some detections up in Maine. Most likely some of these are false. So we wanted a way to be able to identify those and be able to pull them off so we can show the most accurate information possible, plus give the researchers another tool. So the original DAVIT was received very well, and we got an additional smaller grant to do like a version 2.0. So in this next phase, which should be out in summer of 2023, As Caitlin said, using Remora or tools that are built into Remora to be able to add species level quality control flags to detection data. So at the node level, so the researchers will actually get their detection extracts and then with some extra flags at the end that they can pay attention to or not. But in the DAVIT, we'll be able to say, okay, just kick it out if it is flagged, and thus we can show something that's much more accurate. And also that can help some concerns about archiving data directly from the node if we have those flags in it, because basically we're hoping to add some sort of uncertainty. Also as part of this, we'll be standing up a FACTS Geo server that's beneficial for members. We're going to do a private sign-in for receiver metadata. We've been getting a lot more requests for maps and for deployment information over time. So this is going to kind of put the tools in the hands of the members, but yet also protect it for the general public. It's also going to help the FACTS website, and as part of this, we'll be beefing up our project pages. And I'm at the end, I'm just doing thank yous now. I'd like to thank our FACTS steering committee. We have 5 members. I think we will soon have Chris Kalinowski is going to be moving into a more advisory role. So we'll be having an opening on the steering committee that will be announced soon. They put a lot of hard work into all of this. And then we have other FACTS superstars as well. Bonnie Ayre is our webmaster and communications person, our student coordinator with Mitch Ryder, and our data team with Daniel Morley and Beth Bowers. Admittedly, all of them basically made all of these slides. I am just kind of a mouthpiece right now, but we could not do what we do without their help. And then also with the help of our partners, including the Ocean Tracking Network, ATN, Socorro, and Axiom. So I just want to say thank you very much. And thank you for having me today.
And thanks, Joy. You got a good giggle out of Bethany when she saw her picture come up.
Yeah, it's a really good one. I had to pull that.
All right, next up, we're going to have Aaron Legg from Innovacy, and they're going to be talking about some of their new products and updates that they have going on.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for having me. Actually, go ahead and share here to get up on your screen, I guess.
Yes.
All right. I think I got that there. Did it come through quickly?
Yep, that all looks good.
Perfect. Perfect. Thank you. All right. Thanks again, everyone. Thanks for having me. I hear it's rainy there. It is quite snowy here in Halifax. So, Caitlin, you picked a good week to maybe be out of town down there, even though you're getting rain. So excited to be here to talk to everybody about kind of what we've got going on. What are some new products that we have under development, and some things that might be of interest for you going into this season. So first thing I wanted to talk about is our new V6 tag. So some of you may have heard about this already. We did a launch towards the end of last year. So we have now launched a V6 tag at 69 kilohertz. So you can see here our marketing team came up with a pretty cool campaign around this one, with comparing the size of this tag to the size of a Tic Tac. So now the world's smallest 69 kilohertz transmitter. You can see here just slightly over 6 millimeters in diameter, just under a gram in weight in air, same power level as a V7. So going to get very similar kind of ranges that you would be seeing at the V7 right now, and up to a 7-month battery life with some slow delays. So we're excited to have this one. This is now available for order through your sales team, and ready for tagging this spring. We've also been working on our predation tags. We've been refining some of these, making them available for wider sale, putting them through our production process. So you may be familiar with our predation tags. These do come across all 3 of our frequency lines. So we have the V3 D for the 307 kilohertz tags. We have a V5 at 180 kilohertz, and then a V7 and a V9 in the 69 kilohertz range. So these tags all have a polymer. You can kind of see the white element on each one of these tags. So that dissolves in the presence of stomach acid inside the predator. That will then change how the tag is transmitting. It'll either change its sensor value, or in the V3, it will change its ID to let you know that the tag has been predated and you're now tracking the predator rather than the prey. So just an example of how this works. There's two different kind of styles of how the predation tag can share that information. So you can see on the left, this is tracking the original animal, and it has one of the 180 or 69 kilohertz predation tags. Once it's consumed by the predator, that predation event has taken place, there will start to be sensor IDs that change. So it's always going to be transmitting the 1 when it's untriggered, then that sensor value becomes 2 while that change is taking place, that polymer is being dissolved. And then as that sensor value continues to increment, that's indicating how long it's been since that predation event took place. So the sensor values are advising how long it's taken. It starts kind of in an hours resolution, moves to days and weeks, and then it's about a 35-day total resolution that we can provide on from when that predation event took place to next detection. In the 307 kilohertz range, it works slightly differently. So you see that little tiny V3 predation tag. It will change its ID. So prior to being digested, it's transmitting an ID of 65222. And then once that predation event has taken place and the animal has been digested, the ID will increment by 1. So you know that you're now tracking a triggered tag and likely tracking the predator rather than the prey itself. We've also added some long life accelerometer tags. So certainly sensor tags becoming quite popular, getting much more growth and seeing some really interesting requests for some sensor types. We're pretty excited to be launching to have the V16 available now in a as well as AT, so accelerometer as well as accelerometer and temperature. And these are providing for up to 10 years tag. So the V16 A can have a 10-year battery life, so very similar to the long life tags and the pingers, but acceleration sensors that have that same length. And as well, this offers both the activity algorithm as well as the tailbeat algorithm for sensor output. Some new things they're kind of relatively early in the hopper for us, kind of still in kind of product development. We've been partnering with the Canadian government here under a program known as the Ocean Supercluster to deliver a project called the Ocean Aware Project. So a number of partners involved in here developing a number of different technologies. And the couple I really wanted to kind of focus on today are looking at improved mobile tracking, because I think as kind of Caitlin alluded earlier, there's lots of more mobile tracking things happening. So we're looking at how we can improve that, as well as a new type of sensor tag we're working on for measuring animal mortality. So firstly, we are working on a new receiver design designed to increase performance under mobile usage. So looking at streamlining the shape, so we have a smaller cross section with less drag, less noise coming over the hydrophone while under movement, looking to improve that noise performance and increase the detection range under motion. So we did some field trials this summer in Atlantic Canada, up in New Brunswick in Long Lake. And we have some trials coming up this spring in open ocean to check it out. The results we had in the spring, we also did some testing down in California State University in Long Beach with the Shark Lab there. So just a quick couple slides here on the results of that. So this is the AUV that we were using as part of the testing. You can see in the middle image here, pointed towards the camera is our prototype of a mobile receiver with that longer hydrophone tip on the end. And then at the other end of the glider pointed in the other direction is a standard VR2TX. So we just have both of these strapped to the outside of the glider, and we're trying to compare performance detecting under motion. And oh, there we go. See it right there. There's the mobile and there's the TX. So here's the results. So these are really exciting. So first on the right-hand side is the VR2TX. So the zigzag pattern you see here is the mission that the glider ran, and the blue star and the red star are sentinel tags that we had there to see how many detections we could get. And as you can see here, with just the VR2TX attached to the glider, we're getting some detections up to kind of the 600-meter range. But when you look at the performance of the mobile receiver to detect those same two tags over the same range, we're having very consistent detections up into 700 meters, 800 meters range, and even picking some tags up out close to a kilometer or further away. So really excited about that. If anybody has any particular studies focused around studying under motion and having vessel-mounted receivers, those types of things. We are interested in finding some more partners to help test the performance of this device with. So please feel free to reach out to me, and we can have a conversation about those particular studies. The other one, the sensor tag I mentioned, is what we're calling a mortality tag. So this is an algorithm that is running on a sensor tag that is combining predation, temperature, and acceleration sensors. So it's using information from all three of those sensors to make a determination of, is this animal still alive or not? And can I make a reasonable guess as to why this animal may not be considered alive anymore? Again, it's tracking some time since mortality to keep track of when that event may have happened. And we're exploring other ways that we could use this type of technology with looking at algorithms to interpret multiple sensor values to determine that other natural events have taken place. So we again are running some tests with this one in New Brunswick as part of the Ocean Supercluster project. And we're also going to be doing some work down in Florida this spring and summer on testing this tag further. And then the big on the receiver side, kind of where the Vemco system is going. So we're right now working on what we're calling the next generation coding schemes. So we need to, we've put in some work to continue to provide some unique and sensor pinger IDs beyond what we currently have available in MAP 114 and 115, certainly as there are more and more people getting into acoustic telemetry, very much kind of running out of the space available in those existing older maps. So we're looking at ways we can design coding schemes to tailor to specific study environments and introduce better detectability. So better improvements in high collision or other kind of noisy areas. We have ways of doing improved error checking and getting fewer false detections in those initial records. Some ways to enhance the receiver log processing. So once a raw log is able to come off the receiver, are we able to leverage the power of Fathom Central and some of our new cloud applications to be able to find more information inside that raw log file that the processor within the receiver itself was not able to determine. So the first version of that, there will be a new firmware rolling out for the VR2 family of receivers in early 2023 that will essentially get rid of the concept of code maps. You can be confident that your InnovaSeat receiver will be able to detect all of the tags that you're looking to detect and not have to make sure that you're on a particular map in order to be detecting different code spaces. The next generation of that kind of coming next year and will be when we roll out tags that have use of all of these new coding schemes. So starting with kind of getting a base down of getting all of the receivers ready for these tags, and then it will be into 2024 when those tags with that new coding start rolling out. In addition to the coding schemes to support the things that we're doing with all of that infrastructure, we know there's thousands of VR2 receivers, VR4 receivers in the world. But we're also kind of looking at what's next for the platform. So we are now getting close to launching what we're calling the next generation of the VR2 platform. So there'll be more decoding power within the receiver itself. It has some better smarts to deal with high noise environments and have some better performance within those high noise environments directly in the receiver. We're seeing an improved detection range with this new device, this digital-based receiver. And we're able to get some more diagnostic data. So anybody who's familiar with the HR2 or HR3 and some of that information about detection signal strength that comes through with those receivers, we're looking at having the same functionality available in the 69 kilohertz range. More capable hardware means it's easier for us to develop new capabilities, and we have a new platform to be developing these types of things against. So phased rollout for this one, kind of towards the end of 2023, we'll be launching the next generation VR2 TX. And then to follow would be an acoustic release version of that, as well as a long deployment version. So something as a replacement of the VR4 underwater modem to really kind of round out all of that new platform, which then gives us the ability to innovate beyond that. So very quickly, I don't want to run over here. I want to talk through some software. So some rather exciting news, I'm sure for everyone, is that View is finally going to be taking its retirement one last time around the bases and then walks off. So by the end of this year, we will be transitioning all of the features from View that you're used to using into various parts of the Fathom software suite. So just as a kind of recap for those who are not quite familiar with Fathom. So Fathom is kind of the overarching brand of all of our software products, and we have 5 different products under the Fathom suite. There are the subscription-based services, Fathom Position and Fathom Live. And then there are the free tools, which is where all of the features from View will be moving. So between Fathom Mobile, Fathom Connect, and Fathom Central, you'll have the ability to do all of the things that you currently do using View, just won't be having to use the much older software. So very quickly to run through what those are. So in Fathom Connect, this is where you would be connecting to a receiver using a desktop application. You can configure your study, you can get the receiver ready to be deployed, offload data, confirm functionality. All of those types of kind of configuration of your device type of activities will be in Fathom Connect. Again, those of you who are using the 180 or 307 kilohertz ranges, you'll be used to Fathom Connect. For those using 69 kilohertz, you'll be introduced to this as we move the VR2 family of receivers over. Fathom Mobile offers some of the similar functionality in terms of initializing receivers for deployment and doing some offload, but this can all be done from an Android mobile application, can be done in the field, and offers you the ability to capture a lot of that receiver deployment information, as well as any animal tagging metadata while you're in the field. And if you're somewhere where you happen to have Wi-Fi or cell connectivity, all of that syncing back in real time to Fathom Central, and someone can be sitting in a lab watching new receiver deployments and watching tagging details coming in real time as that's being done with Fathom Mobile. And then in Fathom Central, the majority of any type of data analysis will be moving here. So most visualizations and ways to look at and analyze detection data to really confirm that you're confident in the data you've collected. So that's really what we're trying to do with Fathom Central, is create a hub for kind of managing and doing some quick understanding of acoustic telemetry data before taking it on to further analysis tools. We have the ability to share spaces. So I'm sure some of you may be familiar with the workspaces function within Fathom Central. You can invite collaborators, you can share device information, you can share tagging information, and collaborate on all of that data and then have it ready to export. And it's just as easy as joining at fathomcentral.com. You can create your own account, and then you can invite others to join your workspace, and all done by email quite easily. A new tool there, the most recent tool launched on Fathom Central is, just quickly here, I'll show you the detection analysis tool. So this is a replacement of the former range test tool that was a Windows downloadable tool on the Innovasi website. This is now available directly in Fathom Central. So here you can see, you list your transmitters that you're using for your range test, where all of the receiver positions were, and then it can automatically generate all these graphs for you, as well as a visualization of placement. So here we're seeing yellow is I'm using a TX receiver. So it has a transmitter there. These are all of the receivers that are listening for the self-transmitter. And then here's my detection performance over distance. And there are a number of different options there, very similar to the old range test tool, where you could also look at that as an individual tag comparison. So this is looking at the ability of all of these kind of in the line to be able to hear each other. So all of that's available on Fathom Central now. You can just kind of upload receiver files and metadata, and these will be easy and ready to populate for you. Just to quickly touch on the two subscription ones, so Fathom Position is a fine scale positioning tool where you can do your own fine scale positioning. There is a training involved to kind of get started, and it's a really great option for someone who wants to do multiple positioning studies relatively quickly back to back. I know sometimes the processing time for our team can get a little long. This can offer you a way to do some quick turnarounds on studies, as well as people who may be more confident in their ability to work with the tool. And then Fathom Live is a real-time detection system. So combination of a hardware component that is a receiver with a hub that connects over cell or Wi-Fi and pushes real-time information from that receiver back to a web-based dashboard. So works with both animal tags as well as with our AquaMeasure line of environmental sensors to be getting real-time environmental information. And lastly is just a reminder about our website and support portal. So support.fishtracking.innovasi.com. I know it's a bit of a mouthful, but there's a great portal there where you can access lots of information, lots of articles, and there is a ability to have an account created there if you want to be able to access all of your past sales orders and all of that type of information. And with that, I will wrap up. Any questions? Happy to answer, or always available over email.
Great, thank you. I think we have a couple of questions potentially.
Sure.
And I also want to say, as soon as we wrap up with the questions, we want to take a group photo. So if you're online, please stay on. We'll put you on the screen and the rest of us will line up in front of you. So we'll do a group photo, but in just a couple minutes. So let's see, we have a question here.
Sure. Thank you, Aaron. Will the Fathom have functionality for optical reader of VMT?
So the question, if you can't hear it, is will Fathom have functionality for the optical reader of VMT,
Including the drivers and stuff?
including the drivers?
We're prioritizing first getting the VR2 and VR4 receivers moved over, and then we will be moving all of the other devices. So the VMT software won't be going away right away, but I will take that as a note to make sure that we do have that included as part of the movement of the VMT support itself.
That would be excellent.
We have an online question, Emily. Yeah, so Mike O'Brien is curious about movements to adopt open standards.
Absolutely. So yes, we are adopting the open protocol, the OPI and OPS. We'll be supporting those as code spaces with this new firmware that will be coming out in early 2023. It's probably going to be closer to the end of 2023 before we start offering new receivers being shipped from Innovacy that supports it, and we will be offering the ability to support open protocol on existing infrastructure that you already own. So VR2Ws, TXs, and ARs will have the ability to upgrade to support open protocol as a code space.
Yeah, we have another question in the room.
Can you give us any finer indication of when the firmware will be brought out?
Yeah, the question is there any finer scale information on exactly when the firmware will come out? So as people are thinking about their timelines for upgrades.
Yeah, understood. Absolutely. Yeah, we by end of February is what we're hoping. Obviously, we want to have it ready before everybody's kind of spring 2023 deployments really start going in.
Any other online questions?
I see one there on the mobile receiver. We're being available for wide scale purchases probably into 24, 25. But if there is a particular study you're interested in, we can, Tim, we can certainly have a conversation about that.
All right. Excellent. Well, thank you again for all of our morning presenters. A lot of really exciting new information. And don't forget, we're about to take a photo. So